Oh, big gulp of water for the big guy. Do you want to do it, Parker, or do you want me to? All right. Elevation Nation. It's time. We're having on a unique young man to talk all about not only his entrepreneurial journey thus far with his incredible company, Visitour, but more importantly, how the Elevation Nation mental fortitude mindset is now transcending ages, universities, colleges, and, if I say so myself, taking over the college world by storm. We have on a fan of the podcast, which means a lot to Parker and myself, but more importantly, someone who is elevating their lives and the lives of others every single damn day. Ben Putzer, welcome to Elevation Nation. We are hyped to have you on the show, bro.
What's going on, guys? First off, thank you so much for having me. I think you touched on a lot of good points. Being a fan of the show and an avid listener, it is pretty surreal I'm on the show, as crazy as that may sound. So I'm super pumped to get into it, and thanks again for having me.
We are pumped, Ben. We are very pumped because, fellow A Pie guy, also fellow Terp, more importantly. But what's even better about this conversation is you're about to graduate college, and something Sam and I have been talking about on Elevation Nation for a long time is the transition college to the real world. So on top of talking about what you're doing with Visitour, we're going to get into the mind of what it's like to graduate college in 2022, maybe what you're excited about, but also what you're a little fearful of as you cross that stage and you see, wow, there's a lot that has to transpire over the next few months. So, Ben, it wouldn't be the Elevation Nation podcast if we didn't have our guest, you, give an elevator pitch. I know you're in the business school. Let's hear it.
Believe it or not, I'm not in the business school. I'm communications with a business minor. Definitely very business-oriented person, but am a communications major. So there's that. First, point of value there, I guess, is you don't need to major in what you want to do. I think a lot of the time that's overlooked. A lot of people think if I'm not a business major, I can't get into the business world. And I think hopefully I'll be the living proof that that's not true. And you can study what you want in college and still do what you want in the real world. So there's that. So my name is Ben Putzer. I'm a senior at the University of Maryland. I study communications and business. I'm from New Jersey originally. Always have had an entrepreneurial knack. I love business. I love talking business. I was the 14-year-old that was flipping sneakers at a very young age, waiting on the sidewalk at 6 a.m. in the winter in New Jersey. And then I got into like sneaker bots and just loved everything about that world. Would take the bus or the train into Manhattan and go to consignment shops in Soho and try to get the best deals I could. And that was really my world all through middle school and high school. And I loved absolutely every second of it. And I, sometimes reflect and I miss it. But because of that, it kind of sparked my love for entrepreneurship. I loved the idea of buying and selling goods. And kind of knew I always wanted to get into some space of creation and building, and kind of looking at things around me and finding what could use improvement. So that being said, in college, I've had the opportunity to do a bunch of different things, whether it be big or small. I've done a bunch of little side hustles like, basketball jersey sales for the fraternity tailgates, or some like sports business society stuff that I've partnered with them with. Whatever it is, I'm always looking for, a way to help the community, but also kind of create a business at the same time. Going into helping out over COVID pandemic, I know that you guys are well aware of the Making Lemonade Fund, but for viewers at home who might not know, the Making Lemonade Fund was a group of Gen Zers and young professionals who came together and raised over $125,000 for COVID relief. I oversaw the college operations. For that, we had over 85 college campuses and 100 organizations on board. That was a lot of fun. And to me, it meant the world just being able to network with like-minded people, but also raising money and doing something good. So kind of all of this building up is to where I am today. Over the summer, I had the opportunity to intern at a venture capital studio in Manhattan called 25 Madison. There, I was able to kind of further develop my love for startups and learn a lot about the startup world that I didn't know prior. And then at the end of the summer, I had the idea to pitch them on an idea that I've had for a few months before that, even so over a year now, which is now Visitour. So getting into what Visitour is, at Visitour, we offer one-on-one personalized, private, and customizable college tours for any high schooler or prospective student. So these students have the opportunity to take the traditional college tour and go a step further. With our tours, you can go onto our platform and have the opportunity to filter out a bunch of different tour guides who are current students at any college in the country. Eventually, right now we're at Maryland, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. And you can filter out your tour guide based off of your interests or things you might be interested in. So whether that be, your major, your hometown, clubs, intramural sports, Greek life, you name it, and there's an option for you to find a student at that school that you're interested in that's doing what you're interested in. And so I wish I had it, back when I was a senior. I know that the college tours that most listeners right now have gone on have not changed, whether you're 60 years old or whether you're 18 and going through the process now. And so we really hope to kind of give people some insight into what each college campus has to offer them. And it's been incredible to build so far.
And you're talking to the tour guide legend of University of Maryland himself, Sam Panitch, former head of, what did you guys call it, Sam?
Images, Maryland Images, man.
Images,
Maryland Images, a big deal. So, little bond here. Ben, I got another question for you. If you could sum up Visitour and what you guys do into like one sentence, what would it be?
So, normally what I would say is we offer a one-on-one, super customizable and personalized college touring experience to anybody, regardless of where they're from or what they're interested in. And that can mean what country they're from, what state they're from, what walk of life, what stage of life. Hopefully we're able to kind of show you a pull back the curtain version of what each campus has to offer.
And like Parker said, the college experience and tour guides and Maryland and AEPI, all things that Ben focuses on right now, it's very near and dear to both my heart and Parker's. So when we had the opportunity to get introduced to Ben, I think it was very quickly we realized we were going to be friends. And it's been a pleasure over the past few months to be able to watch Ben from a distance and get to mentor him a bit, which is part of the reason why we wanted to have him on Elevation Nation, to kind of get honest and get introspective about some of the struggles that seniors in college are having in life. Because really senior year is when we didn't even know what it was, but that's when these first doubts started popping into our minds on what am I doing with my life, right? You have 4 years planned out for you, internships that you're supposed to get, classes you're supposed to take, and then all of a sudden you start counting down your last Turf Tuesdays or your last Sunday drafts or your last whatever it may be. And the time starts to slip away from you and you realize, shit, I'm about to be an adult in the real world. What am I doing with my life? And so, Ben, we're going to get into that, man, because I know you have a lot of big things crossing your mind over the next month or so before graduation.
Can I also just add, Sam was not counting down any Turf Tuesday or any Sunday draft. He was counting down like classes and stuff, to get to the end. Sam was so ready for the real world, man. He was like, "Get me out of here, College Park."
I was very ready.
Well, Sam, I think you just made me pretty upset. Thanks for pointing out all of my lasts that are coming up within the next month. But I think really the truth is, it is really, really scary. I mean, as exciting as the next chapter can be, I think it's also a very unknown period of time for a lot of people. And I think that there's a lot of uncertainties and a lot of added external pressure that a lot of students and myself, even, things that we face on the day to day graduating college, where, like you said, I've had mapped out for me my life for the past 4 years. And now it's like, holy crap, like everything else is unwritten. And it's kind of up to me to put in the work and discover what I want to do. And going to like those external pressures, it's like there are things that are traditionally the route a lot of people take. And, that can be comfortable for some. And, for me, like, I go back and forth day after day what I want to do with my life. I think even the next step sometimes can be uncertain for me, but I'm taking it day by day. And I think that having conversations with people like you guys has been tremendous. Think something that I think I attribute a lot of my knowledge and happiness with is kind of finding mentors and having people to talk to, like-minded people that are older, and then even some younger people, and kind of just gaining different perspectives into the real world. And I really think that there is no right answer, and everybody kind of has their own path to figure out. So I'm still in the works of discovering what the next step is, but I'm trying to remind myself that 22 is really young. Every college graduate should recognize that they have a tremendous opportunity to kind of pave the path for themselves that they want. And I think it should be looked at as an exciting opportunity rather than something that's scary.
Ben, have you had any conversations with any of your friends? No, that's not just the question. Any conversation with any of your friends about like, damn, you guys had internships and most of them were remote. I feel like a lot of people didn't get that in-person experience. Are people nervous about that? Like, dang, like we're graduating and like life is just going to be like, holy crap, like what's coming?
Yeah. I think definitely a little bit of that. A lot of what I'm hearing from friends, college graduates, soon to be college graduates, is they kind of want a hybrid experience where I think a lot of people did miss out on the in-person internship experience and honestly want that experience. However, that being said, I think there is an element of hybrid and being online that people liked. Working from home, I think people got very comfortable to that. And I think that there's a world in which the future's headed to some sort of hybrid work setting. And I think that's what people my age are looking forward to. Another really interesting thing that I think you guys could probably resonate with, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think, is some conversations that I'm having with friends now is, being at a state school like Maryland, you have people coming in from all over the country, and being within my social circle and the fraternity, people are from a bunch of different states. And now as they're applying to jobs, some people are headed back to their home state where they're from. Places like Boston or Florida or right here in DC, New York, New Jersey, mostly all over the East Coast. However, if you're headed to Boston and I'm headed to New Jersey, yeah, you're my best friend now. And, we've spent the past 4 years together, but it's crazy to think that somebody that knows everything about me is now going to be thousands of miles away, who I might not be talking to every day because we're both going to be busy in our own lives, in our own social circles, in our respected cities. So I think like there's a social component that's kind of scary too, where a lot of people are starting to realize, wow, like I'm really going to be apart from some of my best friends. And I think like that is also something that has been kind of eye-opening that people aren't looking forward to.
Parker, when Ben just said being apart from your friends, did any video of me come to mind? Because a video that you took of me came to mind. Ben, there's a video that we will absolutely never share in the public, but it's a video Parker took of me in the middle of a party in the backyard, like essentially crying because this was like going abroad. And I was like, I'm going to miss all my friends, just being like normal me, being super emotional. But yeah, it's hard, man. Like you will never have another opportunity to be within walking distance of all your closest friends for the rest of your life. And I think that's something that you kind of take for granted in college. Everybody always being free or wanting to do something or having someone that would hang out with you. And as an adult, you have less free time, but you have different free time, right? Like your free time is if you wake up earlier, you can give yourself free time, right? You have to make an effort on weekdays to go and see people and do things and mix up your work week. Otherwise, you start to live for the weekend. So there are a lot of these small changes that you can't really, at least in my opinion, you can't really prepare for them. Like I remember, dude, this is so bad, but like the last month of college, I started trying to wake up like early to prepare my body for waking up for work. And I was just dragging and it was just unsuccessful. And unfortunately, like some of these things you just need to deal with and adjust like when they happen. So
there is no way to prepare for what you're about to go through, Ben. I'm sorry. There's just no way but experience to understand what you're about to go through. And for all your friends and people listening to this, it's not because society's wrong. It's not because college, you didn't do the right things in college. You probably did amazing things in college. You have a job, whatever. You're going to this new city. You are going off on your own, Ben, right? And that is something that is challenging. Yes, you have your family and your friend. You feel supported. But right now, you're in a place that's comfortable. It's a place where, for you, you're an entrepreneur. You're pushing yourself outside the comfort zone, but you can always come back on college. Wow, I got to graduate, get my grades and whatnot. Once you graduate, dude, it's like time. And I think what's really, really cool about the transition that you're about to go through is that everyone goes through it and everyone has a unique experience with it. And on top of that, I'll never forget what an older guy in our fraternity said, Sam Rubin, to me, right when I graduated college. He said, you're going to see a bunch of your friends start to do things on their own that they're interested in that you never saw in college. And they're doing it because they're passionate about it and they just want to do it. And once you can start to find that thing for you, just go in on it and don't care about all the noise and all the, the things going on that's pulling you away. Just go and do. And I never forgot that. And that was kind of my inspiration to work with Sam. We weren't even working yet. We were like, let's start a company. It was summer right before we were starting after we graduated. And look at us now. We're still here. Running a podcast, doing a bunch of things, talking to people like you. But I'm excited for you, Ben. It's going to be amazing because you have a really unique opportunity among yourself. So let's talk about that. You are right in the position now, Elevation Nation. Ben is right in the position now to make the decision if he wants to go full time on his startup that he created during college or put it aside and get a full-time job. Ben, what's going through your mind? Let's talk this through right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. A million different things are going through my mind. And, I think I've mentioned it to you guys before, but it is really the first thing I think of when I wake up and the last thing I'm thinking of when I can't fall asleep at night. And as exciting as it is, sometimes it's also scary because maybe I'll go through the exciting stuff first. I think that I'm really passionate about what I've built so far. I've laid the groundwork for Visitour. We have over 50 tour guides at 3 different schools, built out the MVP version of the website that exists today that you can go on right now, and it's live and people are booking tours. We've done a few dozen tours between Maryland, Wisconsin, and Ohio State, and it seems like we're gaining momentum and things are going well. And I really want to be able to take those next steps and say, you know what, this is something I'm passionate about. I love the idea. I built it from 0 to 1, and now I want to take it to the next level. That being said, you never know with the startup, right? I mean, most startups statistically fail. And I think that if I were to pursue Visitour as confident as I am in the idea and our plans for execution, I have to prepare myself to fail. I think that's for any entrepreneur that's going into it. You have to know that you'll be okay with failing if it happens, and you'll learn a lot along the way. But that's scary. And a lot more comfortable route would be to get a job, to have a salary, to be able to move out of my parents' house, to be able to have benefits and really start your life and feel, quote unquote, more of a real adult. Because I think a lot of people kind of externally view entrepreneurship as fake in a way, or like it's a lot more, it's a lot less likely to happen than, the traditional route of getting a job and a salary. And those things are great. And I think I kind of go back and forth in my head of, I love what I've built. I want to see it through. I think that it's very possible to be a success. But if it doesn't, am I going to look back a year from now and wish that I had taken that job and wish that I had started my career at a big organization, a more mature company, and kind of have that experience? So, I go back and forth depending on the day. But most of the time, I do think I want to stick to the entrepreneurial route and see Visitour through.
And the cool part about this, Ben, that I've been thinking while you've been speaking is you're going to play back this podcast on a commute in 6 months to either a job, school, a different country, your parents' house, your new headquarters for Visitour, right? Like, who knows? But you're going to play back this conversation with myself and Parker and be like, damn, man, like, remember when I had no idea what path I was going to be in? Like, look where I'm at now. Like, thank goodness I'm here, right? And that's what's really cool. You don't have a wrong answer, right? And I think that's what mental fortitude is all about. Obviously, we all three have talked through some of these scenarios and possibilities, but mental fortitude, I think, gives you the power to take any situation and make it work for you, right? And that's what I think is really special about you, Ben, and about everyone who's a part of our Elevation Nation, is there are certain people in this world who are obsessed with elevating their lives, the lives of others, and the world around them, right? And all of those people are across multiple industries, age groups, cities, locations, genders, religions. But the one thing they have in common is they all have mental fortitude that unites them. And you, sir, are one of those people. So as a, mentor for you, I am really freaking excited to see where you end up, because whatever decision you make, Ben, smile through it. You're going to doubt yourself at times, but don't doubt yourself too long, because whatever decision you make, it will all work out, which is awesome. So
yeah,
that's my guidance.
Yeah. I mean, going off of that, I think you touched on a lot of good points where, Visitour aside, this is a whole separate conversation, but I want to do things that will positively impact the world. And I think Visitour can be the first step in that. Whether it be business or philanthropy, I want to be able to have that impact. And I think that the best way for me to do that could be through entrepreneurship, could be through networking and speaking with like-minded people and creating projects and working on these sort of things. So I think no matter what, I'll always continue to kind of be brainstorming and eventually wanting to go full time on these sort of things that we're talking about.
Do you think it's easier to think that because you're still in college? You're still doing it? Like, wow, I got a month left to make this work, Or is it, no, I actually have a plan in place if I graduate and I'm ready to go. And, college ain't in session, but I am.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing. Sam's laughing. I as corny as that joke may have been, no. I think totally. I've started to kind of create a plan. I know what I want to do. I can kind of envision it in my head. And sometimes I think it's harder to verbalize than it is to kind of think in my head. So like, it makes sense in my head and like kind of like my long-term plan of like what I want to do in business, what I want to do socially, what I want to do for the world. But it could be hard to verbalize even to myself out loud. let alone explaining it to other people. But like that being said, I do kind of have a plan in place that a month from now, I know what I want to be doing come summertime and what, Visitour's trajectory can be, what kind of growth we can experience in the next year, and all of the things kind of on the business end. I think that if anything, this final month of college has kind of added on extra pressure where it's encouraging me to get up early every day and start working on it because I've been exposed to the fact that I'm running out of time in terms of having a schedule and kind of this more comfortable lifestyle that I'm living now. And I think like people like you guys have kind of helped expose me to that idea of, it's great to have a plan and, next year you're going to be out of your comfort zone and doing things that you've never done in your life before, not having any of that structure anymore. So I think being aware of that within my final semester of college has been probably a good thing. But we'll see kind of how everything plays out, like you said.
It's like the Hamilton song. How do you write like you're running out of time, Ben? I don't know if you've seen Hamilton, but
I haven't.
I mean, oh. Maybe that's for your first homework assignment after you graduate college. Spend 3 hours watching Hamilton. Won't disappoint. But Ben, I think it's awesome. It's cool. It's amazing. I'm like really curious to see how that changes over the next like week, month, 3 months, year, because it's going to be a really awesome and impactful next few years for you, regardless of where you go and where you take Visitour. What is it about Visitour that gets you up in the morning? Like, you know what? I'm not going to go and work out with my buddies. I'm not going to go sleep in. I'm not going to go to Bagel Place. Oh, well, Bagel Place went out of business.
Bagel Place,
good
yeah,
thing.
It's close.
Good thing they did. What is it that gets you up in the morning just to go work? As a college kid.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, going and working out with my friends first thing in the morning is easy because I am not doing that either way. Whether I was working on a business or not, I would not be the person in the gym first thing in the morning or maybe even the afternoon. That's a different story. I think what gets me up in the morning, I know the answer, and it is the amazing feedback and reviews that I get from customers. And what I mean by that is, for example, this morning, I literally woke up to a text message from a mom who went on a Visitour last week at the University of Maryland. And what she said was, Ben, thank you so much. Without Visitour, my daughter still didn't know where she wanted to go to college. We were leaning towards the University of Florida. But after going on a Visitour of Maryland, she now has committed to the University of Maryland. And we couldn't have done it without you guys, and we really appreciate it. I mean, like, what can get you more fired up than seeing that what you've spent a year building is actually helping people make a decision, one of the most important decisions of their lives, arguably. And to me, that meant the world. That makes me smile, and that's kind of my inspiration for continuing to grind every day and try to be the best version of Visitour and the best version of myself that I can be.
I love that, and it's a similar sentiment to how I felt when I gave tours, Ben. Was this weird feeling of I can impact these people's lives, these students' lives, and help paint a picture of where they could see themselves being successful at University of Maryland or wherever you're touring. So that totally resonates me. And I bet you didn't think this was going to turn into a coaching mentorship session with Parker and myself, but it is.
I love it.
All right, I got a question for you. What feeling, if you had your dream job or your dream life, what feelings would you have in your day? How would you feel?
I mean, not to be preaching like the Jimmy Valvano speech, but I think that it's true. Like a full array of emotions is really important. But I think like the main thing that I want to do is inspire people while also fulfilling myself. And by that, I think social media really helps with this. I want to be putting out positive reinforcement into the world, positive messages, being able to create things that help people from all walks of life while also doing something that I love. So I think Visitour is a great example of that, where I am really excited every day. I wake up ready to go and energized after I drink coffee usually, but it gets me pumped and I love it. And like that gets me really excited. And then seeing people have a smile on their face or saying like, thank you, AKA what you made has helped us do something easier, more efficiently, better, quicker. Like to me, that is what kind of motivates me. And I think like if I can do that on a large scale, I would, going back to what I said, be pretty happy and pretty fulfilled.
I think as a 22-year-old, I'm assuming you're 22, Ben, right?
Yes.
Graduating. 23,
Yes.
22. Okay.
Yeah.
As a 22-year-old, man, that was a pretty eloquent answer. And I'm not saying, Sam and I are not that much older than you, but to be honest with you, at that time, I don't know how I would answer that question. And I think with our framework of mental fortitude and how you described, you just showed how self-aware you are of what you're doing and why you're doing it and how that helped you develop your vision for what you wanted for yourself and Visitour, your vision for why you go about your day. And I think what's great about that is I think those values that you have and about yourself are going to help you stay accountable as college kind of dwindles away. It's really easy to be accountable, I think, in college because you don't have much to do, right? You just got to get good grades. You got to stay out of trouble. And you got to make your parents happy, right? And besides that, I feel like everything's going well.
Yeah.
How many of those things did you do, Parker?
All three, obviously.
I was just checking. I'm just making sure.
I'm here now,
What would you guys say, going back to the emotion question, I'm interested now that, since you guys are a few years older than me, you both, have jobs and are like real people. What would you say now at this point of your life kind of is your emotions that you strive to feel?
It's a great question. Parker was in DC this past weekend and we sat on my roof and had a pretty introspective conversation. And I asked Parker, like, where does he see his life in the next couple of years? Parker, do you care if I share this story or would you like to speak for yourself? But I liked your representation of your life.
Let's hear it.
Okay. I'll try not to butcher it. Parker's like, I want to sit in a chair and I want to look out and I want to feel like, damn, I'm doing cool shit today. And first I laughed at him because it was just the most Parker phrase I've ever fucking heard.
Whoa. Yeah, first you laughed and then I got to explain myself a little bit more.
Okay, so why don't you do that now?
So
explain yourself, Mr. Rocking Chair.
I could sit in a chair and sit there and be like, wow, I'm doing cool shit. And you know what? I'm fulfilled in my life because I've done these things to make the world a better place. I've done these things to, make my life better. I've had these relationships in my life that are ultra impactful and special. And it's almost like a sense of gratefulness. Being grateful for where I've come from and what I've done and what I've been through and just appreciate that. And there was a piece of that to Sam's point, sitting in my chair and just saying, I'll just go about my life and be like, all right, cool. I got to do this. I got to get up on this phone call. Okay, cool. I'm happy to do that. I want to be inspired by the things that I'm doing and inspired by the way I spend my time. And when there's things in my life that I'm not inspired by, I need to be self-aware and cognizant of those things and find a way to push away from them because that's when I'm at my worst self is when I'm not inspired and I'm not interested and passionate about my work or what I do, whether it's in work or my personal life or whatever it is. So if I'm sitting in that chair and I'm feeling inspired, that is something that is truly powerful.
I love
It's a beautiful answer. Yeah. I'm glad you explained it. Otherwise, I just pictured old Parker in a rocking chair with like a pipe just sitting and looking over a lake, which could happen. But
dude, why are we talking about like 50 years down the road now? Like we're talking about like at 26, I would love to be able to do that. Right. And I do sometimes. It's just not every day,
Yeah, I think right. I think going to your point, Parker, is like we could all be doing that right now alongside each other. And I think to your point on being grateful, I think sometimes we just need to kind of stop and reflect on what we've accomplished so far. And one thing I will say as a college student is, a year from now, or even, growing up, but even a year from now, if you told me I'd be where I am today in terms of the business and the people that I've met and what I'm doing, I would say you're crazy and that I'd love to be doing that. And then sometimes in my day to day, when I get frustrated about little things, or I'm, look to other people and, you have feelings of jealousy of, wow, they're doing this really good, or like, they're ahead of me. Sometimes I think I slap myself on the wrist and say, hey, buddy, like, look where you are. Like, your younger self would be damn proud of where you are. And I think all of us have those moments. And to say that we can all, be on that rocking chair now, I think is more than possible.
All right, I before Sam goes, because I know he's got to share his feelings about how he goes about his life and what all that good stuff, right? All that jazz. He's flipping me off, everyone. Ben, I meet with every college kid who joins our EY practice in government. I talk with every single one of them, and the best piece of advice or my favorite piece of advice that I like to give to someone who just graduated college, joining the real world, is that there's going to be a lot of people who look really, really legit around you, like they've accomplished it all. And it can be the biggest, it can push you to feel this sense of imposter syndrome like no other. Like, why am I here? Holy shit. I haven't done anything with my life. And it can almost rip everything out of you. Like, wow. Like, I'm worthless. I'm here. Like, I got nothing to bring. I can't do this. I can't do that. But when in reality, I think as a young adult, someone who's graduating college, going into the real world, the best thing that you can do is give yourself some grace as you go through that transition, because it is going to be hard and it's going to take time, and those feelings are so normal. But just remember, when you're giving yourself grace, remind yourself of who you are. Remind yourself of what you've brought to the table, the great things that you've done in your past, and the reason why you're in that room in the first place. It's because they wanted you there. And it's going to take you time to understand that and realize that. And once you can do that, it'll flip on, and it's time to elevate from that point forward.
Thank you. I love that. I think that's really great. Sam?
It's good advice, Parker. No, I another piece I wanted to say, Ben, is I think, unfortunately, we're at this weird stage in society where there's not a tangible metric way to measure happiness of one's life, or like accomplishment of one's life, right? Unfortunately, the closest things we have right now in society are money, cars, Instagram pictures, likes, right? Like, these became the metrics of Gen Z, which is really bad, really, really bad. So if you ever get into these headspaces where you're comparing yourself to others, which is going to happen, I do it all the time, man. Like, Parker and I have a podcast. We have to look at how many people didn't download or did download our podcast every week. Like, that sucks, right?
Right.
You have to remind yourself, this is not the only measurement of my life. Your life is very diverse. You're going to have health that you need to keep at top metrics, right? Happiness, fulfillment, challenge, creativity, relationships, love. So figure out how you can measure all of those things, which is why I asked you the emotion question, the feeling, because I think all of those can be brought back to a feeling. That's the measurement of that success. So that would be my big piece of advice, is just trying to bring it back to a feeling.
I have a question. Ben,
okay, Parker, ask your question.
I know, but Ben was about to say something.
I was just going off of what Sam said. I think like you touched on a lot of great points, especially kind of honing in on Visitour's, social media presence. I was just quickly going to add, with the TikTok, we've definitely found some successes. I know you guys have seen we are up to 64,000 followers and over 50 million views across all of our videos and 3 million likes. All of that sounds great, sure, but it doesn't make me any happier by any means. It hasn't drawn as many conversions as an outsider might think. So as great as that is, it hasn't made me an ounce happier. And I think for anybody at home that looks at my TikTok and they're like, wow, Ben Putzer must be pretty happy with himself. He has 64,000 followers. To me, big whoop. It was fun for me to create the content. I think it helped with our brand awareness. And outside of that, it was a fun day to film the content. It was fun to shoot. It's a good time. People recognize us at Cornerstone. That's pretty funny. Outside of that, I don't think people should think everyone on social media has it figured out because they have a lot of followers. So, just to go off of what you said, I completely agree.
Love that. That is a mic drop right there. Because at the end of the day, the only way people can assume what you're doing and how you're doing without calling you is look on social media. You want to really know how Ben's doing? Call him up and ask him about this big life decision that he's about to make and how he's going about navigating his 64,000 followers to push him to not take a job so he can try to get 64,000 tours going the next year.
Yeah.
That would be crazy. Now that would
be
level.
crazy. Yeah, let's reflect on this in a year.
Yeah, right? All right, I got another question for you. Let's start with, all right, so we have a section, it's rapid fire questions. We're just going to rapid fire a few. We have a few questions here, but I got an additional one. What do you think is more important? Having a job where you're making a shit ton of money and like a lot of money, like right out of college, but you do something that you absolutely hate, or do something that you love and you make nothing and you have to figure out a way to make it work?
Really, really, hard but great question. And I think I don't know if there's a right answer. I would obviously say you got to do what you love, because if you're not happy in life, then you can't be sitting in that rocking chair and, looking back 50 years from now, you're not going to be happy with yourself, and you're not going to say that, you had a fulfilling life. That being said, though, money helps solve problems. It definitely does. And I think a lot of people work jobs and make a lot of money, but they don't like it. But it was allowed them to live a lifestyle that they wanted to. It allowed them to buy a big house or support a family, send kids to college. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So therefore, I think, I think that there's no right answer, and everybody's life is different and everyone will have a different answer. But for me, I think it's about following a passion, and then the money will come. And I know a lot of people say it, and sometimes it's easier than it seems. But like you said, I'm not even in chapter 1 yet. I'm 22 years old, and I think that following that passion is really important. And in doing so, the money will come eventually.
You passed the test. Good job. You've been listening to our podcast.
Lead with the heart. The money will follow.
I completely agree. And I think, listen, to anyone listening, I've been telling all of my boys, they're probably sick of hearing it, do what you love. And if you want to turn it into a career right now, post on TikTok. I'm telling you, anyone at home, post on TikTok. It's really crazy the amount of organic reach that people can have on TikTok. And, to some of my friends that are really passionate about things they love, whether it be the Celtics, whether it be poker or golf or doing crossword puzzles, whatever your passion is in life, there's no better or easier time to do it full time than now. And I think social media comes with a ton of negatives, but one of the huge positives is the amount of organic reach that people have right now, especially on TikTok, to turn it into a full-time career. And I think it's more than doable through consistency and execution and having a plan to turn your passion and your love into a full-time career. So going off of doing what you love and the money will come, do what you love, use TikTok to amplify your voice, and get a lot of money now. I think it's possible.
And if anyone listening wants to help us get 64,000 TikTok followers, we would love some help because Parker and I are not very cool and we don't know what we're doing. So
speak for yourself, dude.
No, I'll speak for you too.
Parker
is not cool at TikTok. He tries, but we're not cool. We're old. We need help. So hit us up.
I'm not old. Speak for yourself.
You're old, man. Admit it. You're an old fart, Parker.
My grandfather is old.
That is also true.
And he could. And guess what?
and he's got better TikToks than you.
Not to sound like Gary Vee, but he should be posting on TikTok.
Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
All right, Ben. It's a school night. We want to make sure that your parents don't get mad at us for keeping you up late because I'm sure you're going to go to bed right after this. So we're going to move on to our next section, which is rapid fire. First thing that pops into your mind, we want the answer. All right, you ready, Ben? Number one.
Ready.
Your favorite bar in College Park?
Favorite bar, Cornerstone.
Love it.
Easy. Cornerstone Loft on Tuesday night. Parker's an outdoor
die, dude.
Outdoor bench guy.
No, indoor bench. That's where it's all going down, dude.
That's disgusting.
Man.
Like I said, Parker is old. He'll be at the bar with Scott Van Pelt.
Yes, exactly. We're going. Yeah, his SVP. We're going to bench.
You guys are such out of towners. It's so funny. Out of staters. Oh my god, it's so funny. All right, what's the best college experience that you've had? Like maybe not the best. Just give us like a really cool, unique experience that you've had that isn't Visitour or partying in a basement.
Oh, I got it. Easy. Being a student manager for the UMD football team, 1,000%. Specifically, being in the locker room after the away win at Penn State last year. Probably the most electric environment I've ever been in my life, and I'll remember it forever. Hands down.
There are few and far between incredible Maryland Terrapins athletic performances that you just had to be at. Right. And the fact that you were in the locker room is incredible, which we didn't even get to touch on, but Ben has had a sick career helping out with the University of Maryland football team and has grown a network, has made a name for himself, and just an incredible thing to have during your college experience. So that was a perfect answer. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Wouldn't trade. The experience was a ton of work, ton of hours. Balancing with the frat wasn't easy, but definitely worth it. Loved every second of it.
All right,
balancing
last one
it with the frat and school.
Yeah, right.
Mom and dad.
Not that you had enough on your plate, Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, last thing. The top lesson you've learned so far as an entrepreneur.
Ooh, this is a good question. Top lesson I've learned as an entrepreneur. I think two things. Like one, in terms of like your emotions, I think it's that you have to kind of don't take anything personal, tied in with don't sweat the small stuff, tied in with you're young and you have a lot of years left. So like those three things kind of tied in together. And then the other thing that I'm quickly learning is the importance of the customer and making sure that they feel valued, making sure that their voice is heard, and also looking to them for how you can further develop and tweak your service or your business. Because especially with tours, for example, we can offer all we want in college tours, but if we're not hitting on a value proposition for the families, for the parents, for the students, it's not a good business. We're not helping anyone. But the second that we listen to their feedback and are able to find out what was the most valuable for them on the tour, we can further not only improve our business, but help as many people as possible.
Those first three things that you said, I'm like, dude, all you need is some mental fortitude. That's the thing that's going to help you through that. We've been working on that one. And to the second point, the best things that you can learn in a business, I feel like, are from the people who are the ones buying what you're selling, and never take that with a grain of salt, whether it's good or bad. Always value any and all feedback.
Totally.
But cool. Sweet, Ben. It's 50 minutes in, man. We've been having a conversation. Hopefully, it isn't past your bedtime. I know it's not past your bedtime. All right, cool.
Wait. I was going to say one more segment. I know you guys told me to come prepared with my mental motto.
I was going to say that, dude.
Sorry.
You think we were going to forget about the most important part?
I forgot whose podcast this is. I apologize.
Yes. So, Ben, your mental motto, you're ready. You're fired up. You're prepared.
Oh, my God.
It. Let's hear it.
Okay. So this is something that, I'm fired up about, and I deeply, deeply believe it and can apply it to every aspect of my life. So here it is. My mental motto is something that you may have heard before. It's definitely gotten more traction these days. A lot of, athletes, professional athletes preach it a lot. But it was first instilled in me from my high school principal, Dr. Sabatini, back in New Jersey. And the mental motto is to control what you can control. And believe it or not, I don't have it tattooed on me, but I have a bracelet right here that says, control what you can control. And I've had the same bracelet on every single day since high school. So it's followed me all throughout New Jersey in high school, and it came with me to University of Maryland and has been with me in the dorms and all the way now as a senior. And I couldn't preach it enough to control what you can control, to not sweat the small things in life, and to really be grateful, like Parker had mentioned earlier, about everything, to take a stop and a breath sometimes and recognize all of the beautiful things about life and really all of the amazing opportunities you have, big or small. And at the end of the day, wherever I am or whatever's going on, I can always look back at my bracelet and realize that, everything will be okay.
It's special when you get those mental mottos instilled in you early on, right? It's crazy to hear the impact that different folks that come on Elevation Nation, their mental mottos have on their lives. And I think yours is a testament to that and shaping who you are, of just trying to accepting what's out of your control, but also doing as much as you can to make things in your control. You've done a ton of stuff above and beyond to elevate your life, to activate mental fortitude, and really conquer your 20s, your young 20s so far, and your career at University of Maryland. And Ben, you are going places, man. Like, it is so fun to be a mentor to you and get to watch you on this journey. And that's why we had to make this official by having you come on the podcast and officially be a member of Elevation Nation. We're building a nation here, right? And everyone who comes on the podcast is part of a unique group of people who have this unique elevator mindset, and you are one of those people. So it's with great pleasure we invite you to this nation, man, and excited to see the things that you do.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much, both of you, for having me on, being mentors to me. I'm so grateful that, I had the opportunity to connect with you guys. And I really believe in what you guys are building, the mental fortitude that you guys preach, having people on, like-minded people on the podcast, people from different walks of life. You might not have 64,000 followers on TikTok yet, but slowly but surely you're building a following of, really, really cool people doing amazing things. And I think that building that community organically is really an incredible, special thing. And I am extremely grateful to be a part of that now. So thank both of you a lot.
We are happy to have you in the nation. And I just want to say, Ben, just remember, you're 22 years old. If it is Visitour that gets you rich and gets you in that chair where you can look back and just hang out, it's that. If it's not, there's going to be so many other avenues that you'll be able to go down. Nothing is ever finite, I think, unless it's death or taxes. So just remember that. It's true. It's very true. So, Ben, we love you a ton, and we can't wait to come to Bentley's and have a drink with you. Not Cornerstone.
Dude, Parker, I don't know about that. Sam and I will be at Seastone. We can meet you outside. More than happy to, host you guys in College Park. Relive, not the glory days, because you're in the glory days now. But all of us have a beer over the pursuit of a full rocking chair. I'm down.
I love it. Beautiful. Elevation Nation. Until next week. Peace. Hell yeah.